the Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast.
Revolving around the circuit breaker.
Travesty?
Real Doctor Who fans.
Thank you.
With real Doctor Who opinions.
They're like, no, these multi things, they make us money. Ooh, money.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Alhambra Podcast, a podcast dedicated to discussing and interviewing all things Doctor Who, Big Finish, and other science fiction stuff, as well as RTD. I'm Brett. This is episode 403 of the podcast. Joining me across the pond, also talking about RTD, is...
Liam, hello.
All right. Well, we did have some interesting discussion pre-show that's going to be clipped and cut to the very end of the show regarding circuit breakers. We could also tackle that once we get there as well, too. But with this show, we do have further discussions about RTD, as well as Peter Capaldi's thoughts on Doctor Who, as well as, any other things that happen to come up. So, I guess, do you have anything that you'd like to jump on before we get there? Any Big Finish news? Any Doctor Who news that I'm not aware of?
Yes, actually. They have announced the Young Bond pre-orders. Mm-hmm. Well, for the first novel, for the first series, which is Silverfin. And it looks like, because they've also got the license to sell the ebooks.
Oh.
But it looks like they're going to adapt all of them into audio. So as well as the Charlie Higson stuff, which is all the Young Bond things, it looks like they're also going to adapt the Mark Platt stuff as well.
Oh, that's cool.
They've only announced the first one in audio, so I'm hoping that they're going to do the rest. It looks like they are. There's more Dorian Gray been announced.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me check the news.
A 2-hour release, which is to celebrate, I think, 10 years since the last release, I think.
Let's see.
Or is it 10 years? Or
October 2026. It says this full cast. Oh, full cast, because sometimes it was two. Scott Hancock is back?
Yeah.
Ah, welcome home, Scott. The Confessions of Dorian Gray ran from 2012 to 2016. So, yeah, it is 10 years since the Confessions last episode. I know we have had Alexander Vallejos do some other work with Big Finish, but that is, fantastic to get that going once again.
Yeah, definitely. And Big Finish have also announced today, which I think is very cool, they've announced the audio drama release of Return to Collinwood and Vengeance of Collinwood, which is the two Dark Shadows. So they were basically done originally. They were plays that I think were recorded, but they've gone and
originally,
but they've gone and actually recorded them, I think.
Yeah, originally broadcast from 1966 to 1971, Dark Shadows was a TV soap opera with a gothic twist. Its setting in the town of Collinsport, Maine was not just a home to your usual family quarrels and love affairs, but vampires, ghosts, werewolves, and other supernatural things. Let's see, in 2005, a follow-up, Vengeance at Collinwood, was performed on stage at Dark Shadows Festival in Hollywood. While the story was never produced in studio, the live show was recorded. For the first time, the audio drama version returned to Collinswood, and the stage recording of Vengeance at Collinswood will soon be released in one package. This new box set includes the dramatic readings of two classic short spooky stories by the late Jonathan Fried, who played one of Dark Shadow's best remembered characters, Barnabas Collins, as well as an archive interview with him. So,
which is kind of
interesting.
Cool. So, that's going to be interesting.
And I know you are a massive Dark Shadows fan, so you do have that going on.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that they that was it basically for Dark Shadows, because a lot of the cast had sadly passed away. So that was a bit of a nice surprise that it's been announced. And what else have they announced?
Okay,
recently?
actually, I know what we need to do before we get to the RTD stuff. We need to, because you and me had with Legion a little bit, you and me had a back and forth revolving around the Big Finish 2027 classic Doctor Who early bird savings. And again, Liam is in the boat of, I order everything. So just to throw that out there, I don't think everything is created equal, and because time, money, and stuff like that. I looked at the downloads. For the UK it is £266. For over here it is $351 for a 14 bundle downloadable only, which I will tell you, I'm kind of grateful that I'm not doing CDs and whatnot anymore. Because when I was picking them up back in the day, I was able to immediately flip those. Like I'm looking on eBay for stuff like that. They're just sitting there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So even though that they have 1,000, CD bundles to pick up, I don't think people are nabbing them.
No.
And it's a shame because of physical media. I really do like owning physical media, but I feel as though we're going into, and Legion not being here, we do have yourself who does have the vinyls, but I believe Legion quickly jumps. Now. What was that?
I've sold them now.
Oh, you've sold them. I know Legion was in the boat of pick that next one up, pick that next one up. I do love listening to vinyls. You have, we knew where you stood. I want to own them, sit on them, have them accrue worth and value, and then flip them. So, but it's interesting because, you'd think that a lot of people would be picking them up and people would be able to sell some of these on the secondary market for a markup price. But I've been noticing that even some of the ones that have been out of print for quite some time, even, the Marian Conspiracy and stuff like that, they're not getting the $50 per CD that they were about 10 years ago.
And I think that's because people just can't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
Like, plain and simple. It's just so much has gone up elsewhere, like cost of living, and I just think that's just impacting on so much stuff now.
Yeah.
Like, what was it Legion told me about? So they're releasing, for example, all of the original Sailor Moon stuff on Blu-ray. 5 seasons, and it would cost you £350 for 5 seasons, which is ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
So with that, so we do have 14 releases. I know you are in the boat of picking up everything, and the discussion started on our exchange when I noticed that, first off, we didn't talk about it. Second off, as I went through everything, there is no First Doctor release.
There's not. And the reason that there's not is allegedly, again, so unconfirmed, but it doesn't sell as well. So what they're doing is it's a bi-yearly release now. So we're getting 2 Second Doctor releases. And then the year after it will be a First Doctor release.
And so let's go through this because I'm going to have to open a second screen for this just so I can toggle back and forth. But so I have picked up, because I am a mark for all things Third Doctor, all things Fourth Doctor. The Second Doctor, I actually withheld picking up not because I don't like the second Doctor. I do, but you and Legion on the messages were talking about how the second Doctor storyline post, the War Games or Beyond War Games or whatnot has been a bit of a mess. Now, I don't think I'm current, but what are your thoughts about the second Doctor? Now that we have, is Jamie, Zoe, and now is Raven a part of the crew?
Well, she's been in all the releases. I wouldn't say she's part of the crew, but she's just been there kind of more of like a reluctant person.
Okay.
Like I said on the message on the group, it's just been a bit of a mess. The last box set was probably the best one so far, but only because it was sort of more linear. The sort of two previous to that were just so weird and really kind of trippy. You have to really pay attention to sort of follow what's going on. It's not an easy listen, which call me, I don't know, old if you want, but Second Doctor to me should be quite simple. Nostalgic is the wrong word, but just good, straightforward storytelling. Whether it's that, like I say, sort of nostalgic kind of feel of the Second Doctor's era, Monster of the Week type thing, but just the current run has just been really hit and miss, mainly miss, unfortunately. Which is a shame because I like the Second Doctor and he's one of my favourites, and I want more Second Doctor, but just the stuff has just been not good at the minute. So
yeah,
I'm hoping that they're going to pick up next year. So we'll see. Yeah.
So I did not pre-order the Second Doctor because of our discussion, and I am so far behind. It's one of those things. I'm so far behind. I don't know if I just pick up where we are currently and then start going back, or do I start back and then get up to present? I'm basically behind in 2004, 2005, and 2025, and have really not gotten or listened to anything in 2026. So that's where I'm at with everything. Even my favorite Third Doctor and Fourth Doctor, I'm kind of picking around, making sure that I don't listen to anything that I haven't needed to listen to before. That's why I found the Eighth Doctor, what is it? The Cass and the next
Time War stuff.
Three. Yeah,
Uncharted.
Those ones are so easy to catch up on, and I didn't feel as though I needed to have, and this is an interesting thing because at one point in time we did criticize the little that was being released for the Eighth Doctor, but because there's been so much little revolving around the Eighth Doctor, it's so much easier to get caught up on compared to especially the Fourth Doctor, which at certain times has 3 box sets per year.
Yeah.
So,
which is a lot, isn't it? Really.
It is. It really is a lot. So, I've already picked up third, fourth. I blindly did that. The Fifth Doctor, I believe. I don't know if I have picked up the 2026 titles, Helter Skelter, and then the Part B. I do know I have not listened to Hook Light Part 1 and Part 2. I do know that. What are your thoughts about the Fifth Doctor so far?
I've tried Hook Light, and again, it's a release that you kind of have to pay attention to. Legion absolutely loved it. I tried and just kind of fell asleep and just couldn't get into it. So I think it needs a bit of a re-listen. I haven't caught up on Hook Light, and I haven't caught up on the latest Fifth Doctor stuff. Helter Skelter, I think it is.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Um,
Helter Skelter.
So, yeah, I'm gonna sort of save judgment until I actually listen to it, and I can give you my full opinion.
Okay. So, and then with the Sixth Doctor, Colin Baker, me and him share a birthday.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of my favorite Big Finish doctors of all. I really think Big Finish has done him so much justice.
Yeah.
And again, deservedly so. Because, and we've talked about this before, and it might be unfair, but the instant, the Hebe storyline, she was so detestable as a companion in Water Worlds that I was like, nope, don't want any part of this. And then, of course, I sat out Purity Undreamed, Purity Unleashed, Purity Unbound. And then I was apprehensive of picking up anything until I saw the cast and crew. Then you had the Quinn Dilemma and the Trials of a Time Lord. I did pick up both of them. Again, I'm so far behind. I've listened to neither of them. The next two were the Cosmos and Mrs. Clark, which featured Iris Wildtime, and I just can't get behind Iris Wildtime. So I passed on that one. Didn't listen to the part B of that year, which was Bad Terms, which I think is Old Perry.
It is,
I'm not 100% sure. I'm very interested in this year's, though, because you have the Sixth Doctor, Old Perry, and Turlough.
You have to listen to Bad Terms, though, I'd say.
Bad Terms?
Yeah.
Okay. And so, and because I'm just leery of any Hebe coming back into everything, I just can't pick up the Sixth Doctor until I see the cast and crew. And I've just been kind of mildly questioning some of the other Sixth Doctor stuff, just because it went from being such a joy. And I just love Colin Baker. His portrayal as the Doctor in Big Finish is just top notch. And so the whole Hebe thing just left me, caused a pause, but I'm not like out. The Seventh Doctor, I find the Seventh Doctor so interesting because he is one of the few doctors that I really don't care for the era for the most part. The classic Seventh Doctor era, I find a lot of the stories very clunky.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not apt to just jump on it. I almost wait to hear what you have to say, or Liam or Legion or something like that, to say about how good or how, bad a Seventh Doctor is. The last one I listened to, I believe, was The Doctor and Carnacki, which again, totally love the Carnacki files from previous years. Just absolutely love them. I did not listen to... Did I listen to Past Forward? I think I might have, because that was Harry and Naomi, right?
Harry and Naomi, yeah.
Uh-huh. But I have not listened to the Wicked with Ace, or the current one that was released 2026 with the Fixers. So I don't know really much about that one.
Fixers hasn't come out yet. That's the latest one that's coming out.
Oh, that's coming out in July. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The previous one to that is what's it called?
Wicked.
I haven't listened to that one either, but there's one previous to that, which is the end of the Harry and Naomi arc and the start of the Ray arc.
Past Forward,
which was really good. I'd recommend that one. It's nice to have Ray back, actually. Because it deals well with the Harry and Naomi and the whole unit Nemesis arc thing and all that, and how all that kind of ties in. So that's a nice sort of end to that sort of series. And like I said, it
Okay.
picks up with Rey, and then we get more Rey, obviously, in July, which is nice, because what's nice with Rey is that, yes, they've had history,
Uh-huh.
and you see the start of, well, not the start, but there's a story in Classic Doctor's New Monsters that features Rey, and then we get the actual reintroduction of Rey within the release, and then there's obviously that's continuing in fixes. And what I like about that is that there's no real baggage. So, you know, Rey knows who the Doctor is. The Doctor who knows who Rey is, and he wants to sort of make up for screwing things up with Ace. With him and Ace in the past, so he's a bit more open with her, and she's not naive either, because she's seen what she's seen, obviously, in Delta and the Bannerman. And what's nice about this so far is that they're just having fun, and like, there's no angst or anything. There's, it's just them literally going around the universe, and he's showing her stuff, and she's, rising to the challenge, and just she's able to deal with a lot of stuff. So I like the fact that she's, again, quite capable. So I'd recommend those.
Okay. I'll have to look at that. And then there's the one that I believe Legion was also, like, I think he was more leery of the Eighth Doctor adventures than I was initially, but he stated exactly how I felt with the Eighth Doctor. Because again, I do like Uncharted. I think it's fantastic. I like the sandbox that they're playing in with that. But then you have all of the stuff that they've done with, India Fisher, with her Charlie, also with, who else is in there? Charlie and Audacity.
With Audacity, yeah.
You have that. You have, them basically severing the relationship between the Eighth Doctor. I was going to say Constance. I know it's not Constance. Who is it? Shoot. With Nick. Who's Nicola Walker? Liv and Helen. You had, they parted ways at everybody's favorite storyline, which I loved it so much I noped out of it real quickly. But you guys listened to Stranded all the way to part 4. They part ways with Liv and Helen, and then it's almost like, oops, we made a mistake.
Well,
maybe
they part ways with Liv anyway.
Well, yeah, but still, they've never done solo Helen and the Eighth Doctor.
No, which I think is a shame. Actually, I'd like to see that a bit more.
So you have that, and so I know Legion was saying that the Audacity and Charlie is a mess. They've made a mess with Liv and Helen and the Eighth Doctor, and so I've kind of agreed. Not nearly with passionate as he was coming across on the group chat, but I find that at least the Eighth Doctor, with what they're doing with the Time War Uncharted, Uncharted 3, they brought in Susan. Again, you have Sonny McGann that's also on there. You have Cass, which they've established in, the Doctor Who Cass box set. I really like what they're doing with that, but I'm not pre-ordering anything if I don't see any connection to those storylines, because those storylines are so fun. I don't know if I really want anything extra.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because I think the Eighth Doctor... the last Audacity box set, she gets put through the ringer a bit, which is interesting. So it's going to be interesting to see how that pans out. I've got a feeling she's probably going to die or something. because this is obviously quite, sort of early Charlie. So,
Yeah.
yeah, and I would like to see sort of perhaps a resolution to the Helen storyline.
Yes.
Kind of very surprised that they're doing the New Pathways sort of double like box set,
Yeah.
which is sort of very well. It's ranging from very early Eighth Doctor, apparently all the way up to Time War Doctor, Eighth Doctor. So it covers his entire era, which is going to be interesting. So, and
because the New Pathways, the about is soon after regeneration, the Doctor's eighth life begins. The TARDIS receives an unusual call. Many years later, traveling with faithful friends Alfie, can the Doctor finally solve a mystery that has dogged him since his earliest days? And then, who is Chase Moyo, and what new pathways will she lead the Doctor along? So, it's one of that statement right there with this Chase almost makes me wonder if they're going to pull. Remember that one companion with the Eighth Doctor or the Sixth Doctor, who I really loved as a companion, and then they, pulled the rug underneath and basically is like he's a villain and he actually wanted to kill the Doctor the entire time. I'm curious with like who is this and what new pathways will she lead him along? I'm kind of curious what that's going to be.
And it looks like it's an anniversary release really for, what was it, 20 or is it 30 years?
It'd be 30 years since the TV movie.
Yeah, which is, but I think this is basically what it's celebrating. So it's going to be interesting to see what, how accessible it is going to be for one, new listeners, and two, if it is accessible, what kind of lore tidbits or extras or interesting things that they're going to drop in for long-time listeners.
Yeah, well,
try and strike
especially
that
because, the next month, because, I kind of like what they do. They, Eighth Doctor, one box set comes out in November, the second one comes out in December. And so, they already have the title for that one, the second one, Fear the Reapers, but all we have is the title for each of the 1 hour stories, The Junction by Helen Goldwyn, Yesterday Dies Today by Alfie Shaw, and Matilda by Alan Ronald. And then the cast is still, Eighth Doctor Paul McGann, Natalie Gudemi Chase, and Sam Stanford Alfie. So all those people are still reprising their roles, but it's just going to be interesting to see what they, do.
Yeah. I wish, though, they would split the rest of the box sets up a bit more. So in the sense of, so they've got the Eighth Doctor stuff in November, December. I wish they did the same with the rest of the Doctors and have it, a month or two after the first box set. I think that would be better. To do the same thing with the Second Doctor and Third Doctor. Like, I think it's kind of a little bit annoying to have, let's say like a March and then like a July release.
Well, I mean, that's the other thing compared to the way it used to be about, 10 years ago. Big Finish had the cover art for a majority of at least 70% of the year. And then, there would be a surprise, new announcement. There'd be a surprise, new things. About November, December, even October, they wouldn't have, the cover art, but they would have more of the release information with a synopsis and the cast and crew. However, I feel as though it seems like they're stringing along things. Because,
hard to say, really.
Well, and the only reason why I say that is because, I'm looking at the Seventh Doctor page, and obviously they don't have a title for 2027A and B.
No.
They have the 2026 B title that says to be announced for the Seventh Doctor. However, that one is, and Big Finish's page just froze for me, so I really can't look. But they have, there we go, finally unfroze. So they have no formal title for Part B. The Eighth Doctor has cover art for the November release for the Part A. It has a title for Part B, no cover art and no information. However, the Seventh Doctor, I was talking to you earlier as if the Seventh Doctor Adventures Fixers has already been released because they actually have cover art. They have a working title. And I didn't, specifically click on the whole page
To look at the
because I
date,
just
yeah.
assumed that it had already been released at this point in time. I didn't realize that, it is coming out in July. And then the Part B for this is coming out November. So it seems to be very all over the place for what's being released.
Yeah, and you'd think as well, especially given how early they put the pre-orders in for the bundle, that you'd think that they would have a bit more of an idea of obviously when they're going to release stuff, and then have a bit more of an actual plan or cover art or stuff going forward. Speaking of releases, I know why the Gallifrey War Room 3 it took ages to come out, and we got pushed back and pushed back.
Why was that?
Due to one line, I believe. Elistra talks about bi-generation. So, and I mean, it's not even that. She just says, "Oh, bi-generation's a myth," and blah blah blah. So I do.
Yes.
I do think that the reason that I got put back so much is because of that sort of part of the show. So, which bit of a weird thing to take that long for, but I can't think of anything else to really explain the.
It begs the question, if that's the reason why I got pushed back, was the BBC mildly unhappy with the RTD Part 2 early on, but because of and here's the question. Let's just hear it out. Do you think they were unhappy with the RTD Part 2 early on, but because of the place in which Chris Chibnall had the show, they were desperate?
I think you might be right there to a degree, because they were gonna sort of fade to black with Chibnall, weren't they? That was the original plan, and then RTD was like, "Oh no, well, I'll take it on to quote unquote renew the show and save it." Famous last words. And look at the mess that resulted in.
Yeah, we got Mavity, bi-regeneration. We have, the continuity all over the place regarding. I mean, Chibnall didn't do us any favors with the whole
Timeless Child,
as well as all the other stuff. But at the same exact time, you had all of those snafus. You had, what he did to the Rani, what he did to Omega, also what he did with the pyramids of Mars and all that stuff. And just, which, I mean, oddly, transitions us perfectly to a Reddit post that you sent me. It says it was written in 2004 by RTD. Did they clean that up? Oh no, they didn't. Okay, so in 2004, an article says, Dr. Zero, aka a doctor before William Hartnell, and he replied, "I don't think that the act of writing has that kind of power. So as a writer, I'm saying now, the Doctor I am writing is the same man who also fought the Dravens, the Macra, the Axons, the Wirren, the Pteroleptals, the Bannermen, and all the other stuff, as well as the Master in San Francisco on New Year's Eve, 1999. One man, 9 faces. Still denying it? ? Good luck. And then it said, attempting a mysterious Dr. Zero simply wouldn't work. His past will be in every newspaper, every website, which we saw in Rose. And we also saw in kind of Love and Monsters too. It says in the end, the Doctor numbers are decided not by the production office nor by the fans, but by time and the tabloids. And so, and it says RTD on Doctor Who in 2026. He says, I suspect when the books are being written in 20 years' time, Doctor Who, What Went Wrong, ? They'll find it impossible to refer to both Episode 1, 1963, and Episode 1, 2005. Shorthand will demand that Season 27 and Episode 697 slide into existence, and I wonder, I'll see you in 20 years. I agree with 2004 RTD. That it is the one same person. I disagree with 2026 RTD.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's two different people.
Mm-hmm. I just don't understand where it all went wrong. How you write the Ninth Doctor stuff, right? That really tight season of Series 1 of Eccleston.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get the 60th anniversary specials, and then Season 1 of Shooty. And like, where did it fall off the rails? Because it really did.
It really did. It fell off the rails fast.
Which was a shame, because like I said, Shooty, I think, had potential. His era had potential, but the finales were just so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Just so bad.
And then it says, the third thing, and this is supposedly in 2026, where do the Doctors fit, like Russell E. Grant Doctor, Joanna Lumley, and Joe Martin Doctor? It says, so the Grant version is stepping sideways. He'll be an Unbound, to use that great Big Finish phrase, joining Peter Cushing, Richard Hurtle, and Joanna Lumley, etc. Joe Martin is different. Let me repeat, no one decides this. There is no official coordinating big BBC policy on this. There never will be. But this is what will happen. It will happen. It's already happened. Chris is number 9. William Hartnell is number 1. That's it. So, and I do like that some people on this Reddit post basically said, no, Richard Hurtle is not an Unbound Doctor.
No, Richard Hurtle is still First Doctor.
Yeah. He was playing a part that, the actor had passed away. Mm-hmm. So obviously they did their best or what. He's not an Unbound Doctor. Joanna Lumley, obviously Unbound Doctor. Richard E. Grant, didn't they show his face?
Yes.
In one of them?
Rogue.
Which everybody was gushing. Which one was it?
Rogue.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why show his face if he's now going back and saying it's a sideways Doctor?
Just to troll the fans, I guess. Just because, it's a nice Easter egg. Is it? I mean, cool.
Yeah.
I suppose you can argue in saying that you could make a statement in saying that, well, he showed it because the universe was screwed up, and as a result could show that, and then at the end of the reality war, the Doctor puts the universe back by 1 degree or something, so putting it back on track, so therefore wiping it out. I don't know. But I just like you, I disagree with the 2026 RTD. It's on such an ego trip.
Yes.
And he just cannot accept that he's right. And well, if it's not the writers, right, or not the BBC, or not the fans, well, then who is it? Because we don't decide which Doctor, comes up or pops up. That's the writers' job. So surely it's the writers. Who else is it going to be?
Uh-huh.
I don't see at the end of the Doctor Who episodes of, vote in next week's poll. Well, which Doctor what Doctor do you want to see next week? Vote now. You've got 7 days. You've got 6 days to get your poll. To get your thing in, and then results are in next week. Do you know what I mean? So it's not down to the fans. It's down to the bloody writers. So how the hell can you say it's not? Well, so out of touch.
Yes.
So out of touch.
Which leads us to the Doctor Who TV.co.uk article, Why RTD2 is the Greatest Doctor Who Era of All Time. I'm really curious. A lot of this has to be tongue-in-cheek.
Oh, completely.
Right?
Yeah. The whole article is it's scathing.
Uh-huh. All right. So it says, last week I explained why Billie Piper was the greatest Doctor of all time. Okay, there we are. Already starting off with a dig. All right. Appreciate that. This week, it feels only right to give full praise to the man who brought the stunning idea to life. Russell T Davies returned to Doctor Who, looked at a programming wobbling underlore, backlash, brand confusion, and audience fatigue, and made the brave decision to add more lore, more brand confusion, and more audience fatigue. Naturally, this makes RTD2 the greatest era in Doctor Who history. But wait, there's more. So there's a countdown of 5 things, I guess, that he learned or something like that. Number 5, he learned everything from the Chibnall era. The Chibnall era was famously beloved for its universally loved Doctor. Many richly defined companions, natural dialogue. Oh, my word. I skimmed this. I did not read this in full context.
It was a good
my
read.
word. This is so scathing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my word. Like, if they were in prison, like, RTD would get, like, prison shanked by whoever wrote this. Oh, my word.
Without doubt.
And the universally adored decision to make the Doctor's mysterious past much less mysterious, with William Hartnell much less the first. It certainly did not cause a massive backlash, shatter the fan base, and become one of those exciting turning points where people started saying, actually, I might just watch something else. RTD saw Chris Chibnall's triumph, wiped away a tear of professional admiration, and understood the assignment. Do more of that. Oh my gosh. Regeneration had worked for decades as one of television's cleanest ideas. One doctor dies, another doctor arrives. Everyone cries, a new actor says something odd, and the show continues. Beautiful, simple, dangerously accessible. So RTD gave us bi-regeneration. This was perfect because traditional regeneration still had one terrible flaw: consequences. A doctor left and the audience had to miss them. A face disappeared and a new one had to win us over without the old one sitting in a garden waiting to be used again. This was grief, finality, risk, all of the tedious emotional architecture that had kept the program alive for 60 years. RTD fixed this. Better still, he removed danger. Between the timeless child, suggesting the Doctor may have more regenerations than common sense, and by regeneration suggests death can now produce a bonus doctor. Why worry? That is, yes. Oh my gosh. I think we talked about this when we reviewed the Giggle. Like the Timeless Child made basically, and I know you and Legion kind of joked about it, how the 13th Doctor was, oh no, I'm going to have to sacrifice myself. And then somebody else stepped in, let me take this for you. And what was your guys's quote for how the 13th Doctor left? I remember this.
What was it? Was it something like, bye?
Yeah, it was bye, and just, whatnot. Which made it so sad because of the Timeless Child, the Doctor's nearly immortal.
Well, they are.
Yeah. And then this, because I will tell you, I remember watching the Fourth Doctor regenerate into the Fifth Doctor when I was a kid. I loved the Fourth Doctor, and I was heartbroken when the Fifth Doctor came into being, and I didn't think I would ever like the show again. Because Tom Baker was my doctor. He was Doctor Who. And I didn't know who Peter Davison was growing up in America. We got the show probably about 3 years off of when it actually, 3 or 4 years off of when it actually aired. So I didn't realize that, he'd already regenerated into the Sixth Doctor. But I mildly walked away from the show when the Fourth Doctor regenerated into the Fifth Doctor in Legopolis. And I came back to it months later, was watching it. And then the Fifth Doctor, and he was kind of okay. I was always holding my breath for a Third Doctor episode or a Fourth Doctor episode to pop up. And then I kind of was okay with it. And then he regenerated into the Sixth Doctor. And that basically severed everything. I was massively heartbroken. I still did not get over the trauma of the Fourth Doctor leaving. And I really like how this writer describes the heartbreak and the untrust even of the audience member.
Here's the question: was there as much trauma for you as the Sixth Doctor went through the Fifth Doctor went through into the Sixth Doctor? Do you think?
I mean, I've never. It didn't cause me to want to strangle anybody.
So that'd be a no.
Let's see. Yeah, RTD fixed this, but better still, he removed danger between... Okay, I read that already. This is wonderful for tension. If the Doctor dies, perhaps he regenerates. If he regenerates, perhaps he splits. If he splits, perhaps one Doctor goes on adventure while the other one stays home recovering from plot exhaustion. Oh my gosh. Well, that's the thing. That was the other thing I didn't get about the RTD Part 2 era, is they basically said that the 14th Doctor gets to, psychologically recover from the 9th Doctor's, regeneration of the Time War. The War Doctor, the 9th Doctor, the 10th Doctor, the 11th Doctor, the 12th Doctor, and he finally gets to just relax and recover. And the 15th Doctor doesn't have any of that emotional baggage until he has all of that emotional baggage. Like, that was the other thing that just didn't make any sense.
No.
Let's see. It also did Ncuti Gatwa an enormous favor. Previous new Doctors had to step into the spotlight alone with the old one gone and the audience forced to move on. 15 got to begin his era while 14 remained alive, beloved and available, like an emergency tenant stored behind the glass. Break in case of... Oh my word. Let's see. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Let's see, it says, and then there was Susan, the doctor's granddaughter, one of the oldest names in the show, a character with weight, history, and emotional danger. Naturally, RTD moved towards this sacred piece of mythology with the grace of a man pushing a pram through a minefield. Poppy, the space baby from an episode everyone loved and definitely did not immediately place in the mental quarantine zone. Drifted towards the doctor's family tree with terrifying confidence. This was legacy storyline. This was legacy storytelling at its finest. The doctor had worked perfectly as well as a mysterious figure for 60 years, which was obviously a problem. Mystery leaves space for imagination. Imagination is risky because viewers might fill in the gaps with something better. So RTD took the mystery, added gods, added a baby, and left everyone staring at canon like it had just leaked through the ceiling. Ooh. Let's see. He spent money wisely. All right. I'm just going to skim through that because I think we've talked about, Legion brought this up previously. Like, the show was in disarray. Hey, I know. Let's do War Against the Land and the Sea and not a Doctor Who thing. Let's get the Hooniverse with characters that nobody cares about. Like, they didn't even bother reusing the same characters previously.
No.
Let's see. He turned hypocrisy into a superpower. Oh. Great showrunners have principles. RTD had something better. Principles that could leave the room when the scene required a cool image. Take the sonic screwdriver. For decades, the main clue seemed to be in the name. It looked like a strange little screwdriver, or at least a wand, a torch maybe, a glowing stick, anything with basic moral innocence of a thing designed to open doors. Then RTD looked at it and saw what lesser minds had somehow missed for 60 years. Shock. It was actually a gun all along. Oh, I forgot about that.
Uh-huh.
At last, someone had the courage to protect children from a terrifying firearms imagery of a buzzing space tool. Nobody else had noticed it was basically a weapon, but that's why RTD is a visionary. He sees danger where others see merchandise. So the sonic screwdriver had to change. It came in a new design, a chunky, cheap TV remote with all the alien elegance of something you might find down the side of a Travelodge sofa. Safe, responsible, unthreatening, the Doctor no longer carried a suspicious tube. He carried what looked like a device for switching HDMI inputs during a school assembly. Wonderful. Then Gatwa's Doctor blasted skeleton baby Omega in the face with a ray gun repeatedly. The children were spared the dangerous sight of a screwdriver-shaped screwdriver, then treated to the Doctor firing energy at someone's head, which apparently is fine because the music was triumphant enough. This was RTD2 at its purest moral certainty with range. Principles that could stand firm for interviews, then politely stepped aside when the finale needed a cool blast in the face. Guns were bad, useless. The finale needed a gun imagery. Violence was troubling unless the shot looked dramatic. The sonic could not resemble a weapon, so it became a remote control, and the Doctor simply moved the shooting elsewhere. A lesser writer would have chased consistency. RTD transcended it. He turned contradiction into production style. Oh my word. He used subtext with tremendous restraint. Okay, I'm just going to skip all that because we've previously talked a lot about that.
Uh-huh.
And number one, this is amazing right here.
Uh-huh.
Number one, he would change nothing.
Uh-huh.
And here's where we reach his greatest achievement: humility. after the brave lore rewrites, the character building Disney money bonfire, the visionary sidelining of his lead, the moral gymnastics, the canon spillage, the amazing received finales, the historical ratings, minimalism, the bold liberation of Christmas Day from Doctor Who, the small matter of returning to save the show so effectively that it ended up canceling it with paperwork. RTD was asked, what would you change? Nothing. Oh my word. This is a masterpiece in taking a dig at the RT. Oh my word. This guy, Simon Graves, I am so curious if he had a takedown of the Chibnall era, because this is masterful.
It is. I read it at like 3 a.m. and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Oh my word. This is amazing. Holy cow. Wow. All right. Let me pull up the last one. I think this one's pretty short. This is the 12th, or Peter Capaldi. I found that it was funny. I read this one. I think I found it around the same time that you did. I didn't read it thoroughly though, but this one is the 12th Doctor actor, Peter Capaldi, is sure that Doctor Who will be back on our screens at some point, but once it does, it might look a bit different. And here's the question. What was that? Well,
obviously.
Here's the question, though. Do you, and we kind of briefly talked about it, but do you think we are going to get a hard reboot? Like, it's going to be all scrapped?
I unfortunately, I think we are, to be honest. I don't really see a way forward.
That is going to be so sad. So here's a follow-up question for that. So if there's a hard reboot, where does your canon end? Like your mental canon? Does it end with the classic era? Because there's lots of good stuff with the new era. Does it end when the 10th Doctor goes into the 11th Doctor? Does it end with the 12th Doctor going into the 13th Doctor? Where does would your canon end?
That's the thing is, I'm a completionist, and it would annoy me knowing that there's more, but my canon would end previous to that. So unfortunately, it's got to end at the reality war, because Big Finish, for all the releases that perhaps aren't so good, do generally do justice to the worst parts of the lore or the worst parts of the universe. So they probably are going to tackle the 15th Doctor's era at some point. Well, I mean, not tackle, but continue to tackle it, because they've already done it in the latest unit series. So, unfortunately, I'd say it's got to be there. As evidenced by the Gallifrey stuff, because again, the most recent War Room box set was good.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely set up for box set 4. But Gallifrey has been some of the most consistent stuff that Big Finish have done. So, and they're talking about by generation and whatever. So unfortunately, I think it's got to end where the show currently has ended. Whether Big Finish then tackle the Billy 16th Doctor stuff, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are right, because I struggled with the 12th Doctor's hybrid storyline. And they did a really good job fixing that with the 7th Doctor Davros story. So,
I mean, they did. It's a shame that it never actually happened. because it
Well,
got
never-
rewritten.
But it never happened. But don't you think that portion actually happened, though? If we did eventually inevitably get the hybrid in the TV show?
That would be good if they could actually do an actual canon story of that and have, have it where it doesn't reset. That's what I mean. So Big Finish are capable of coming up with ideas that generally 95% of the time work.
Mm-hmm. So do you think... So if you were to... Peter Capaldi basically says, Doctor Who will return. There's no question about it. Do you... If you were a betting person, how far out would you guess that it's going to be until we see the show return to the screen?
Probably, given the current climate, given how producers won't touch it with a barge pole at the minute, which I don't blame them for. Even at the earliest, saying that someone does sign a deal and then they get an actor to do the role and they get scripts. At the earliest, probably. I think the 2029 thing's a bit ambitious, if I'm being honest.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Who said 2029? Just out of curiosity.
I think the BBC. I think they were sort of saying that it's going out to tender and whatever, and their aim is to try and sort of get it back by like 2029. I think, which I think is a bit still ambitious. Honestly, I think given the current climate and that no one wants to touch it and the cost of production and everything that goes along with that, and given the fact that I think things have to change, and I think things are changing slowly in regards to the film industry, at least. And some of the better films recently have been non-corporation content and indie producers.
Mm-hmm.
I would say about 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think, would you put your money on kind of like a Virgin novelization type of a situation where...
Just Big Finish.
Well, no, but I'm obviously Big Finish. But would you put your money on... Because I think the difference between the last time the show went on a hiatus or wilderness years or whatnot, they had the Seventh Doctor for a while, and they were doing the New Adventures of Doctor Who, featuring the Sylvester McCoy Doctor or whatnot, and then a couple of years later they started doing the missing years, picking up a Doctor here and there. And here's the reason why I'm setting this up for this question, is because at the time in the 90s, the show was about 30 years old. Now we're at year 60 plus. And a lot of the fans that would have supported, that did watch the show as a kid in the 60s, 70s, 80s or whatnot, are now middle age and beyond. And to have a book market for, the missing doctors from 1 to, I would say, easily 8, maybe question mark, maybe War Doctor or whatnot, I find that would be a hard sell compared to if they did Missing Adventures for 9 all the way to 15. I don't think because of what happened with RTD Part 2, I don't think you would have a likable enough Doctor for the 15th Doctor to have their book range. As well as, I feel as though kind of like the Chibnall era, Chibnall basically pigeonholed the 13th Doctor's entire life in those 2 seasons plus Flux for the most part.
Yeah. No, I do generally see. I do generally see Doctor Who being at Big Finish for the foreseeable. They've got the license until 2035. Also, some good news. I don't know if you're aware. That rumor that Tom Baker apparently had stopped recording apparently isn't true. So he's still recording allegedly. So we'll see how many more series he's got to come. But I and the BBC have come out and said, because obviously we covered that article a few weeks ago, saying that they do trust Big Finish with Doctor Who, and I think it's right. I think they're the only ones at the minute who know really the show, and have known the show from 1999. You know, yeah. And I think they're the ones that are going to carry the torch through this period, whatever the period might hold for us. Whether that materializes into a hard reboot, I don't want it to, but it might be the easiest option for younger fans and stuff and things going forward. I'd like to think that they won't, but I can see the reasoning for it, unfortunately. So, I think Big Finish are the way forward for now, which is fine. Whether that changes, I don't know. I'd like to think that they're going to continue to get the license after 2035. For as long as they can. Because if they don't, there's no Doctor Who being produced, basically. The occasional BBC audiobook, but that's it. So if the BBC don't have faith in Big Finish, and then there's no Doctor Who being produced at all.
Yeah,
because there's no initiative for New Adventures Part 2, is there, or new version Adventures? You know what I mean? So there's nothing else in the works apart from Big Finish, who have got good standing, and because of obviously the BBC and the way that they broadcast stuff now, and the fact that Big Finish have got more of a wider audience because of things like the Radio 4 Extra. I do think they are the flagship for Doctor Who as it stands at the minute, without doubt.
Yeah, I agree. I can't honestly imagine that they would not do a, if they weren't making any new Doctor Who, that the BBC would pull or not allow Big Finish to renew their license, because all they would have would be action figures or whatnot, and I feel as though they'd be wanting to get something from this IP, and they're not smart enough to be able to do what Big Finish does. No,
and that's the thing. So, like I said, at the minute, all the BBC have got outside of Big Finish is the action figures sort of range. Doctor Who magazine. Well, I mean, what are they going to do with that? Because there's no new content going. So, what are they going to actually put out new that's not already been recycled about 3 or 4 times? And like I said, the occasional new novel or new audiobook, maybe. And that's it. Unless they then milk the cow for we at one point we had all these Virgin New Adventures. Let's either put them back out into print or reprint them or do audiobooks of them. That's the only thing I can think of. But besides that, the one thing and the one constant that's been within the fandom, and since 1999 at least, has been Doctor Who from Big Finish, and that's not stopped, and that makes them way more money than the figures. I mean, Big Finish might go, yeah, we're a small company, blah blah blah, which they are comparatively, obviously, to the BBC, obviously, but they get, like I say, airtime on the BBC and stuff now, where they never used to. They're talked about on other BBC programs. People talk about them, and actors and stuff come in and stuff and said, yeah, I've worked at Big Finish and blah blah blah. So, and they're branching out. I mean, they've just got the young Bond stuff, which has always been a dream of Jason Haigh Ellery to try. And I think if the young Bond stuff sells well, like Legion, he says, and I agree with him, that it might be a way that they can then adapt the Ian Fleming Bond books into audios and cast a Bond, because even George Lazenby wished Isaac Rouse well as Bond, apparently in an article. So. Yeah, I think Big Finish have got more clout than I think a lot of people realise, and I think they've obviously gone from a small company with a very niche interest in British sci-fi kind of IPs to, as I say, being the torchbearer for Doctor Who at this point, and the BBC have realised that, and realised that the amount of decent stuff they've put out and content that they do put out on a regular basis that seems to win awards, seems to show that. So, because they always seem to have stuff in the audio awards and things, and and like for years now. I'd easily say the past 8 years, if not a bit longer. So, again, it just shows the commitment and the quality of writing and stuff that they're trying to stick to give it justice. So, yeah, I think Big Finish are the way forward, which is fair, because, as I'm sure you'll agree, I think it's been some of the best Doctor Who we've had, and especially comparatively to the current TV series.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree. Hello everyone, post-production Brett here. Originally in the podcast, Legion was supposed to be on this episode. However, because of time constraints and also other obligations, he had to leave before we really hit record. Joyfully, though, we did have a pre-show discussion talking about the Joe Martin Circuit Breakers, the a multi-platform series that is going to be going on, just during the summer months all the way until September or whatnot, starting in, late July. That's, not Big Finish's fault. However, we did have a good discussion about it. You will notice at times that Liam's audio suddenly miraculously improves. He, AI helped for the most of that. However, I forgot to finish the very end of it, or the beginning of it, as it would say. So that is the reason for the audio change. Please, if you like the podcast, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and until next time, we will see you in time.
I'm also recording now.
All right, I am recording.
So, recording, and
I feel like me and Brett did this in 2 clicks, and Liam's just there tick, 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 tick.
He's actually been recording for a while. He just likes to listen to the clicks of his keyboard.
Recording.
All right. So this is episode 403. I've been tinkering around, and I released an episode yesterday that I've been working on for a week or so, revolving around this circuit breaker.
Travesty?
Thank you. Oh, my word. Oh, my word. That...
Will they learn?
I'm... Yeah.
They're like...
No.
They're like, no, these
I don't think
multi-things,
they
they
are.
make us money. Oh, money.
They're like 3 in, and
I mean, let's be
they've
honest,
still not learned a
already,
thing.
let's rank this one. It's got Joe Martin in it, so I'm already ranking it at the top. But I think we can easily say this one's the top.
Yeah.
So what would the other ones be? Would we put, because Doomsday had, and me and Liam kind of discussed Doomsday at one point in time.
Yeah.
I think you were actually there in one of them, Legion. But you had Doomsday, which you had
Suze
that
Kempner.
comedian that was
She's actually
Which
who is
I've
quite
still
funny.
never heard of her. Like,
Yeah.
is she?
who she the rollout for the YouTube video was cringy.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Then you had the whole then you had the weird rollout of that first chapter of the book. And one of my favorite things about that release was Liam came to me and just said, remember the first chapter of that book that you read on the podcast? It was the receptionist at the very beginning who was actually trying to kill her because she just hates her. And all of that whole release, and that's what it was. I read the comics. The comics weren't as cheesy and campy as the release, but if you're going to have a cheesy release and everything else is mildly more serious, who's going to ever like pay to find out if it's actually legitimately good when you all you're met with is just cheese, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know, but I've still not listened to Doomsday, the audio.
well, and then you had Time Lord Victorious, which that was riddled with so many delays, and you could
COVID
say
issues.
it was COVID, but when everybody is working from home and everybody's recording from home, how do you have delays when everything is locked down also? So,
I mean,
like, that never made
delays
sense.
Delays, I suppose, in mixing and getting all the stuff together because you suppose you can't get into the studio, I suppose.
Well, yeah,
Um,
but I mean, they're Big Finish. Like Nick Briggs, like whenever he was showing stuff on the Big Finish website, he showed that he had, a Neumann, one of the $3,000, $5,000 Neumann at home. He had two of the Rode, one of the more fancier Rode condenser microphones at home, and it's like, if you have that at your at-home studio,
See, this
what
is the
else
interesting
do
thing,
the
isn't
people
it?
that are,
Because there were a lot of delays, but I don't think it could be blamed entirely on Big Finish because they were only one wheel in a moving piece,
No.
one cog in a moving wheel.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I've not been sleeping well. Like everyone in the UK at the moment. Yeah, we don't.
Is it
do
really
well in
hot
the
over
heat.
there?
Yeah.
Oh, God,
it's
it's unbearable.
it's the hottest year in the decade was yesterday.
Ever.
Wow.
We actually apparently recorded the hottest day ever yesterday.
Wow.
Since records apparently
We
began.
we have like 6 wildfires going on in Utah.
Wow, that's insane.
Jesus.
Yeah. They're canceling our governor just made illegal shooting off any fireworks for the 4th of July, which is,
Illegal.
a couple days from now. The only ones that you can do are going to the actual professional shows who, have everything with, the fire departments all ready to go and it's safe or whatnot, and the ones that are done with drones. Those are the only ones that are allowed at all.
Yeah, that's crazy. As Legion was saying, I think it is right in the sense that Big Finish are only sort of one cog in the proverbial wheel.
Well, yeah.
I think what the problem was a lot of the time was getting the equipment to people like Sylvester McCoy.
Sylvester McCoy did Time Lord Victorious. I thought it was the 10th Doctor and the 8th Doctor.
Blanking on... No, not Time Lord Victorious. I just mean in general in lockdown.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about... We're talking about the multimedia snafu, which was Time Lord Victorious.
Oh, yeah, but what I mean is I think it Time Lord Victorious suffers from not only just being really bad release and the issues surrounding it. But I think what I'm meaning is there were other ongoing issues. So, for example, why am I blanking on her name?
Maureen
Vicky
O'Brien.
in First Doctor era.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't think she could record for a while because I think she was a
She
carer
wasn't
for her
in TLV
husband.
either.
No,
Yeah.
she wasn't. But what I'm meaning is that because of the lockdown, they couldn't get the equipment, or people couldn't get in.
Okay.
To
We understand that, but
to actually
We understand that, but we're talking about the multimedia snafu, and the big problem was Time Lord Victorious, and you're talking about all the issues that Big Finish had. We're not talking about the issues that Big Finish had. We're talking about the disaster of Time Lord Victorious.
Well, I mean, in the sense of Paul McGann's recording,
Oh,
like, in regards to TLV. So, and this is what I mean. So they couldn't have edited his sound because he clearly was recording in a broom cupboard.
yes, they could.
Yeah, but
there's
no.
so many
So
plugins.
the
I know.
I
whole,
don't understand.
the issue, right? Here's my issue with the TLV situation. So we're gonna poo-poo all the Big Finish stuff because we know that they could produce in a hurry. Because look at the Fourth Doctor release they released in May of 2020. Shadow of the Sun. Yeah.
Shadow
Yes.
of the Sun, was it?
So we're poo-pooing that. The issue is, I'm really sorry, guys. This is going to have to be a very quick one for me because I'm going to have to jump off in a minute. Yeah, that my parents are very nearly home.
Okay.
The issue we have is that it's different cogs, but everything went through different channels. So whereas Big Finish went through Big Finish, the TLV stuff went through the BBC directly, and everything had to be sent in. You had Titan Comics which were American, sending all their blurbs into BBC, into someone central there. And I think it was Joseph Lidster had to have his finger in so many pies that it just collapsed. And at the time, you had Eagle Moss going into administration. And they went, oh, yeah, Eagle Moss are doing this. You had the escape rooms in COVID. And yeah, it was just... Oh.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
All right. Let's. I can slide that part of our conversation into the podcast. Do we just want to get underway for as long as we can?
I do apologize, guys. I am actually
Sure.
going to have to jump off. They are arriving any minute.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, well,
Yeah.
hopefully
I
you can join
definitely
us
will.
next time,
I am
Manish.
back now
so-
for good.
Hmm.
So right, I'll catch you later, gents.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
All right, we'll
All
do.
right, guys.
Yes,
Would you
I will.
send me your audio?
Yeah, sorry today,
So
guys.
I can. Okay. All right.
no,
No
I
problem.
See you, bud.
All right. Okay. So, what would you like? I know you sent a couple things, Liam, about the RTD stuff. Where are you
What's
wanting?
up, I think?
What was that?
You have been listening to the Doctor Who Alhambra Podcast. Doctor Who is owned and trademarked by the BBC. Doctor Who Alhambra is not affiliated with the BBC or Big Finish. No infringement is intended. Visit our website at alhambrapodcast.weebly.com or email the show at alhambraaudio@gmail.com. Tweet us at Alhambra Podcast. That is ALHAMBRA Podcast. Thank you.